Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I am your host, Patty G. We are here with Robbie Bolton of Evolve Physical Therapy. We're going to be talking about business model differences. We're going to be talking about how you can get back out on the field or on the track or in the pool, whatever you're trying to do, and also how to take care of yourself and also save time while doing so. But before we get into that, I want to give a big, wonderful thank you to the sponsors that make this show possible each and every week. Government Taco, Falaya Real Estate, Mallard Bay Outdoors, Horizon Financial, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and our newest addition, Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. And without further ado, Robbie, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. Love podcasts.
Good. I know you're like podcast. You got so many podcasts under your belt at this point. You know, you're just ready to rock and roll.
I've done a few. That's it.
Enough. I feel like once you do one, it's kind of like driving a stick shift, right? Once you do one, it's just kind of second nature.
I'm still getting comfortable with these. I like them.
Well, there's no cameras here. There's no lights. It's just you and me.
Just you and me. Yeah.
That's right.
And this really not awkward microphone 2 inches from my face. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just there. It's just in the space.
That's
you know?
right. I can't see it at all while I'm looking at you. Not at all.
That's right. we bump your arm down a little bit.
That's right.
But anyways, man, what is Evolve Physical Therapy?
Evolve Physical Therapy, funny story, is actually going to be evolution. Just really long word. Kind of did some logo testing, and the whole thing was I've been a therapist for a long time, 17 years. That's a long time. And I've worked at many different types of clinics, and I love the outpatient setting, and I love working with athletic populations and people that are active. It's just a very fun environment. A lot of people like to do that kind of work. The problem is it's very labor intensive, right? You have to do a lot of stuff with your hands. You got to get in there, right? You got to get a little oomph behind you. And I think after a while, people kind of give up on it because it's very demanding. But I like it. God's blessed me with a pretty healthy genetic structure, and I love what I do, and I've never really been injured, knock on wood, doing it. So I just kind of keep the ball rolling. So after years and years of doing what I do, I've kind of found little niches and things that I think I do well, and I found a model that works really well. And I think after a while, I kind of got tired of the same typical model that I think most people are comfortable with, and try to just do something different. So our model is kind of evolution, hopefully, changing and evolving the system the way it's done, and that's where Evolve came from.
So do people really get hurt performing like physical therapy?
Oh, absolutely,
drills?
Absolutely.
I didn't know that was a thing. So like the physical therapists have physical therapists they go to?
Well, yeah, so we have a massage therapist, Bethany Leger. She's amazing. She works on me. I work on her. We have another physical therapist, Jean Swallow. Him and I went to school together, so I've known him for a long time. He actually works on me. I work on him. So we kind of pop each other, stretch, needle each other, so just kind of stay in tip-top form.
Gotcha. It's one of those practices where you need to taste your own medicine.
You have to. Yeah, you got to live by what you preach, right?
Right. Well, and it's like for physical therapy, I feel it's one of those medicines where something can go wrong so quickly without noticing it, at least to my understanding. Like if you're doing like some popping of somebody, if you pop them the wrong way.
You'd be surprised. Like if you look at a doctor's liability insurance versus ours, it's completely different, right?
Really?
Yeah, they might spend, $25,000, $50,000 a year. Ours is like $500. Like we don't kill people that often, right? So when people come in, even things that you would think would be pretty aggressive, right? Your body's pretty resilient. You know what I mean? Okay. So if I go in there and manipulate your back or your neck, like it's very, very minimal risk. Yeah, sticking needles everywhere. We're doing it for a long time. So as long as you stay clear of the lungs, you're pretty good.
Yeah, and like you said, it's very hands-on.
Very hands-on. And that's the thing that we kind of pride ourselves in. So we're a big manual therapy clinic. So a lot of clinics, like you and I were talking earlier, a lot of clinics, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, come in for 45 minutes. You get your treatment, you're in, you're out, and who's on the next table. Ours is a little more personable, maybe a little more like home base, where we're very informal. A lot of people come in, they just walk in. Like, so I might see them on Monday, and I'll work on them, and they might come in with a crook in their neck, and we work on that, and it's better. And then 3 weeks from now, they'll walk in, hey man, I just was playing softball and I tweaked my calf. Can you look at it real quick? So we're kind of a laid back kind of clinic. TVs everywhere, hip hop music, movies going. So there's some kids that come and they're done with treatment and they'll stay for another 2 hours just to kind of hang out, because it's kind of a fun environment. So our clinic's a little different than most.
It's pretty cool. It's almost like the place to go to after school.
It's kind of like the locker room physical therapy.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of guys that just train in Baton Rouge, right? So they don't need me for functional rehab. They'll just kind of do their own training And as they get fatigued or need recovery, hey man, I just need needles, or I want some Normatec, or if you don't mind, can you go through and do some fascial gliding with cups, needle me, and I want to do some recovery, or I'll go get a massage from Bethany. So it's kind of like a concierge physical therapy type place. But at the same time, if you return to running and you want to do IsoConnect testing, which we offer, a lot of places don't do that. So if you want really aggressive ACL rehab, we do that. If you want return to throw rehab, we do that too. We specialize in that. That's our bread and butter. But we do all the other fun stuff too.
Yeah, see, I would have no idea to ask for IsoConnect testing. Like, what is even that?
So we do a lot. There's a few places in town that have machines that will kind of isolate certain structures. So, for example, we'll have kids that come in or guys that come in with throwing problems. Say, man, like I can lift all day long. I can do bench press. I can do push-ups. I have no pain. But when I throw, I get pain. So we'll go through and we'll try to look for structures, dysfunctions and, shoulder girdle issues. Or then we'll say, look, structurally, you're fine. Like, I don't think you have any labral cuff issues. I don't think you have impingement. Let's look at your dynamics of your shoulder, how you're balanced out. So we'll get them on a isokinetic machine. We'll kind of look at ratios of like muscles that kind of accelerate versus decelerate, look at your height and weight, and from a body weight percentage, say, look, this is where you should be, and this is where you are, meaning you're training incorrectly. So it's not so much that you have a problem, just that the way you're going about doing it, we need to change the way you're doing it. Let's focus on these guys more. So it's more of a program, and those guys will come in, and they'll come in a couple of times a week. We change how their workouts are. We'll do some testing, and as they get back on track, we start return to throwing programs, and then they're fine. Same thing with guys that do ACL. We'll get some people that maybe 4-6 months out from ACL, and maybe they did therapy and they just didn't get aggressive therapy. Then they start running and their knee hurts. And they'll go to the doctor like, nah, your MRI is good. Your structure is good. Go back to rehab. And then they'll come here and we'll do IsoConnect testing for their knee, look at their quad hamstring ratios for their height and weight, and say, look, man, like you're in open chain, like your quads are just weak. So let's get back to pounding those quads. Let's do some glute work. Let's do some things that maybe you missed in the later stages of therapy. Maybe you quit a little early, maybe you didn't finish the whole thing out. And then sometimes it just kind of like settles people down. Like, look, your structure's fine. Your ACL is good. Your meniscus is good. It really is a muscle imbalance thing. So we do things like that as well. So those are little niches that we have. So we tend to do the athletic population, not so much just high school, but, we get 7-year-old guys that, hey, I want to run. I'm a runner and I want to run and my knees hurt. Okay, let's do it. Let's go after it. So we try our best to get everybody that wants to do athletic things back to doing what they like to do. Yeah.
Gotcha. So more on the athlete side as opposed to like the normal, like say the worker who goes to the gym in the morning and wakes up the next day and they have, they maybe pulled a muscle or maybe their back's
we do that
hurt
too. If you're a guy that's active or a girl that's active, we do all that. We don't typically do more of like your stroke patient. So if you have someone like, maybe grandma or grandpa had a stroke, you want to go to like a neuro facility or inpatient rehab, or we have some younger, like some tennis players, some runners that might get a joint replacement, a hip or a knee, but maybe they're in their early 50s or maybe they're in their mid 50s but they still want to play tennis. They still want to run. They still want to swim. Like, of course we do that rehab too. We just really specialize in kind of the younger population, aggressive rehab, return to sport. That's kind of what we specialize in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not the doctor prescribed rehab for those people that are just losing some momentum just due to age.
Yeah, correct. That's more maybe like your on the corner physical therapy, like whatever's close to your house. Like, I live here in town, so I'm gonna go to the corner therapy place. That's more for like your just, regular stuff. We kind of specialize in the more aggressive therapy, more athletic stuff. Gotcha. And your concierge stuff. So we have people, we're close to Magnolia Woods, so people from the neighborhood will come in and say, hey, look, I pass by you all the time. Parking lot's packed. I want to come take a look. Do y'all take my insurance? I want you to work on my neck. Yeah, come in. Let's work on your neck. So we kind of do a little bit of everything, but we specialize in the athletics and the return to sport.
Gotcha. Okay. And so like the concierge level of it, to what extent does it go? Do you do in-house physical therapy with people? Do you travel to places?
We don't really travel anymore.
What does that look like?
We kind of stay put and people come to us. So what we'll do is, like I said, we might have, a full day. And then we'll have somebody call or text me and say, hey, man, I was just playing tennis and I slipped and I stretched my groin. Man, I don't know if I tore something. Can I come in? So they'll come in same day. Hey, come in. We'll take a look at you real quick. We'll do a quick assessment. And then we'll do a quick treatment and they'll come back the next day. So we're kind of a drop-in kind of, hey, how some haircuts, hey, I'm going to come on in, walk in, no appointments necessary. We're kind of like that. For the most part, if I absolutely can't see, we're too busy, we'll try to make an appointment for you. But for the most part, between Jean and I, our two therapists, we can handle walk-ins. So Concierge physical therapy is more like, hey, listen, I work out on my own. I'm doing okay, but man, I really have this upper trap, or I got this levator issue that's really bugging me. Can you get in there? So they'll come in for 20 minutes. They'll come in, we'll do a manipulation, we do an active release, we stretch them, we might needle them, and that might be all that they need in like a 25-minute treatment to, all right, my motion's back, I feel better, thanks so much. Tell them what to do at home, and then you're good, right? So not so much like I'm coming 3 times a week for 8 weeks. We do that too for our, post-surgical patients and things like that, but we do a lot of the other stuff too. People come in just for massages. They'll work with Bethany for like an hour, and then they'll come back and say, you know what, Bethany got in there, but man, there's this one spot. Can you needle this spot? They come up, they jump on the table, we give them a needling session, and they just walk out the door. So it's very laid back in the approach where it's not as formal as a lot of other places are.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this term dry needling.
Sure.
Or needling procedure. What is that?
Dry needling's been around for a long, long time. Eastern medicine, now Western medicine has kind of taken over. So a lot of people will do a dry needling session, which just means acupuncture style needles that is not pushing a medication. So it's a dry needle, just the needle itself. Needling is so beneficial, and they're still understanding the benefits of dry needling. But as a whole, there's different approaches to needling. We use what's called an integrative dry needling approach, where you're kind of mixing a little bit of acupuncture techniques with a more traditional physical therapist or chiro dry needling session, where somebody might come in and might have a trigger point. They have one spot, right? And we'll go after that spot, but then I might go peripherally to where the nerve comes from, right? Maybe in their neck or their head, or if it's in their lower extremity, I might go to their back or their glutes or their hips. And we might try to go through some of the proximal stabilizers, release that, and then go after that trigger point as well. But it really is just an intramuscular release, whether it's at a trigger point or a tight spot. We'll go in with a certain type of needle. We'll either do like a pistoning to release that trigger point if necessary, or for integrative approach, we'll go in and create lesions, and then we'll do, a lot of times we'll use like an electrical current to try to help take that muscle and make it almost fatigue, relax that muscle. So some people come in post-running, post-tennis matches, whatever, man, I pulled my calf. So we'll go through, and a lot of times it's too sensitive immediately for me to dig in and get in there. So we'll use a very shallow micro needling, and then we'll hook it up to electricity and kind of flush that muscle, give it an involuntary muscle contraction to almost kind of remind your system how that muscle is supposed to work, relax the tissue, kind of get toxins out, increase oxygenated blood flow, and it just, and immediately you're like, man, I feel so much better just from that one session. Then of course they might come back tomorrow, they're maybe a little sore, but they're 50% better than they were yesterday. And then you can do more of your manual stuff, use tools, use cups, use your hands to kind of get them back to where they were. So needling is great.
So especially, it's just kind of like a release of
you
the
can
muscle.
Use it so many ways. I mean, I could needle every single person that comes in for different ways and in a different technique. It all depends on what they need, and also honestly depends on the person. So it's really effective on children because kids they bounce back so fast. We'll get a lot of dancers, a lot of gymnasts that come in, and a lot of times these kids, they're like deathly afraid.
I was about to say, they've got to be deathly afraid of needles.
So they're like 9-year-old kid, they're like, wait, you're gonna stick a needle where? It's like a shot, right? And then it's like, no, it's not a shot. Some kids are tough. Like some kids are like, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, needle away. But if I can't needle, then I'll try to use other methods and let them see other people get needled and say, look how easy it is. Like a couple little needles, it's very shallow. And then once they get comfortable, then you kind of go after the big guns and get in there.
I was about to say, that's got to be terrifying as a kid. Just
some
come
kids,
out with like a roll of needles.
Some kids
like,
are
let's
all
just
about
let's
it.
just get to sticking.
Some of these kids are so athletic, so young that they've been in treatment since they're 7. So we get some pretty competitive gymnasts and dancers that come in, and it's just the overuse. Some of these sports last almost all year, Yeah. So they're constantly pounding. And then we get a lot of kids that come in at different age groups, but we consistently see like 9 to like 14. That's kind of like your overuse ages where kids, their body's developing, their muscle capability can't handle the load they're constantly putting on their growing, developing body. And they get overuse injuries, and they come in, and therapy is the best thing for them. They come in and we say, look, we want you to continue your sport, but we're going to change the way you're doing things. We'll modify certain things. Don't just stop. Don't just quit something for 3 months. Come in, let's work on your strength. Let's get your body's capability of loading up. That way you can tolerate activities better. And then as we take away your mechanism of injury, all that pounding you're doing, and we get treatment, treat the tissue, load the tissue, then you kind of ease back into sport. It's so much of a better, it's a better method.
Yeah, because you got these students or these kids that'll play summer league, they'll play school league, but then you have these on the other end of the spectrum, these travel teams where they'll play like all year long.
Oh yeah,
there's
always
that's
opportunities.
Just brutal on the younger bodies. I mean, how do they is there even a way to go about successfully doing all that without therapy or anything.
So specificity of training has gotten really popular now. So like, of course, kids are really good at baseball. They want to play baseball. They want to be competitive. There's a business side to that as well, right? And I think a lot of people talk about that. But from a physiological standpoint, it's not good to load a tissue the same way over and over and over. Like carpal tunnel didn't come about until, computers were around. Like you didn't have people on a typewriter back then doing this, getting carpal tunnel, right? It's, high amplitude, or low intensity, high amplitude computer typing is really what kind of got that day in, day out overuse where you start to have tissue breaking down. Same thing with kids. You can't do the same motion day in, day out for 6-9 months and not expect a growing body that, 9-year-olds aren't, they're not lifting weights. They might be doing some light speed conditioning for their body weight, but they're not loading the tissue like it should because they're 9, but then they're doing activities over and over and over, which is demanding so much load in that tissue. It breaks down. Then static structures, bones, ligaments, capsules start getting loaded and they start breaking down. So you get little league elbow, little league shoulder. So the best way to combat that really is just to not specify that early. A lot of kids when you're like 11, 12, 13, that's a really good age to really kind of start honing in on what sport you really want to play. And if you're a boss, maybe you do 2 sports, I went to Brother Martin. A lot of kids go to Catholic High. Like once you get in those big schools, it's hard to compete at that level, multiple sports, because there's a lot of options out there. So usually when you're a kid, play football, play basketball, play baseball, do a different sport. And now if you want to, do a summer ball league, but it's not as intense, absolutely, that's fine. But kids really get in trouble when they start getting into that 9, 10, 11, and it's like they're just doing it year round, and tissue just breaks.
Yeah, that repetitive motion. So I guess kind of the parents that put their kids in all the sports really is helping their body out in the long term.
It's helping them more than that. It's helping them develop as an athlete, as a person as well. It's not good to load the body the same way multiple times. It's just not good, period.
Yeah.
Just like if you were running, right? If you were a runner and you ran 6 days a week for 10 years, like you're going to have tissue breakdown, right? So the best thing to do, take away running, maybe start doing some cross training, right? Well, they say triathletes, right, or just runners that just are broken, right? That's all it is.
I was about to go into that. That's what I was doing. So before we got started, we were talking about school sports, and you discovered that I was homeschooled, didn't go to Catholic High. So we lost that rivalry there,
Rivalry? What are you talking about? We're the same school, man. I'm just different city.
Yeah.
We're both brothers of
the
Sacred
state
Heart.
championship, So, but during high school, once we were doing running and all that, then I started swimming. I started swimming for Tiger Aquatics, and then I just morphed into doing triathlons. So that triathlon training of the running, the swimming, the biking, it took a toll on your body, but I guess it was doing a good thing for me by kind of mixing things up.
Absolutely, 100%. Cross training is amazing. So a lot of our runners that come in that have issues, first thing we do is like, look, don't stop running, but we're going to change the model you're doing. We're going to change the intensity, the duration, right? You can still jog, but we're going to slowly load this tissue back into health. So you got to get aggressive with maybe elliptical, biking, swimming, other things. Keep your cardiovascular system up while we're trying to load this tissue to get back up to where you want to, again, where you're running multiple days a week and intensities and things like that. So the principles are kind of simple. Once you kind of understand the loading principles and like stages of tissue healing, it's not that bad. The hardest part is when you find really competitive people that are like, hey, like I hurt right now, but I just want you to know, like whatever you're going to do today, I'm going to run tomorrow. It's like, yeah, but it's not in your best interest. Well, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway.
Doesn't matter.
I'm going to run. Like I know it hurts, but I'm going to run. Like, well, that's not, you and I aren't helping each other. Like you might not just don't even come because I feel like I'm wasting your money, Like come in, let's kind of make a plan. Let's kind of work on this, get better, and let's load you slowly into where you need to be.
So how do you deal with those types of patients?
Man, I'm old now.
Because I know there's got to be so many of them.
Man, when I was younger,
they don't want to stop.
Yeah, there's a handful of those, and you can see them when they come in. It's like, oh, here we go. But I guess as I'm getting older, I'm a little more ornery, I guess. I used to sidestep and walk on eggshells. Now I'm just like, look, like I'm busy. Like, if you want, you can, this is what we're going to do. And if you don't want it, it's cool. Like you don't have to do it. But this is how I think would be the best way to approach this. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. It's cool. Like, look, I got like 3 people waiting on me right now. Like, if you want, I'll just go work on them. So at something, I'm not going to be that much of a jerk, but you kind of take that route a little bit to kind of like let them know, like, look, I promise, like I've been doing this for a while. This works. If you just buy into it, and you trust the process, it's going to work. And I think this is the best way to do it. And I'm not saying I don't want you to do anything. Let's just kind of change the model a little bit. And some people buy in. Once you work on them and you kind of let them know you know what you're talking about, and you do some soft tissue work, and you make them feel better after the first session, they're like, all right, let me give this guy a try. Let's see if he knows what he's talking about. And most of the time, it's successful. Yeah.
Yeah. You tell him this is going to be from an occasional appearance
That's right.
within our clinic too. We're going to get you in here 3 to 5 times a week. If you're not going to stop,
That's
you're
right.
going to be in here a lot more.
And it's funny, like once people come in, a lot of times it's very intimidating coming to therapy because some people don't know what to expect. But you get some really athletic people that have never been hurt before, and they come in. I try to make them understand, like I'm here to help you. So when you come in, like I want you to enjoy the atmosphere. We have lots of college kids that are all trying to be doctors, PAs, PTs, OTs, whatever. A couple dentists, whatever. And then they kind of learn from me. They kind of learn the environment that I try to create, and they just assist me the whole time. So we have 2 therapists, lots of college kids, and it's all about clients when they come in. Like, what do you need? This is what we're going to do for you today. And it's a fun environment. A lot of young kids. Like I said, it's real laid back. Not a lot of shirt, coat, and ties. Not a lab coats. I mean, look, I wear khaki pants on Fridays, sometimes shorts.
Shorts.
So, hey, dress down Friday. Yeah.
So it's dress down Friday.
Like little dry fit polos, tennis shoes, and if you walk in the clinic, I'm most of the time on a table, cracking somebody or stretching somebody or needling somebody, and then I use my assistants to kind of help me with exercise correction or modalities if needed, things like that. Yeah.
So have you ever had somebody walk in, see you on top of a table needling someone, and just say, "Nope, I'm out"?
Oh yeah.
Just turn around and walk out?
I've had a couple people. I've had some parents. Sometimes you get kids that maybe are coddled a little bit. That's the right way to say it. And they come in, and right when they're in the waiting room and they're looking, we have a very open office. So when you walk in, you're at the front desk. We have a small waiting area because most people don't wait. You walk in, you come right up, and we get to work. And there might be 6 tables in the clinic, and there's some equipment and some stretching areas. And you might have somebody getting cracked or somebody over there getting cupped or needled. And you have kids doing split squats and RDLs and band exercises. Now all these things are going on. Yeah, I guess it's kind of intimidating for some of the kids that are maybe a little scared, right? So they'll come in already like, "Oh, what are you going to do? Are you going to do that kneeling thing?" I'm like, "No, I'm Robbie. Nice to meet you. Let's talk about what's going on." But you get some parents that, "Look, whatever you do, you're not sticking needling my kid, and you're not doing this." I'm like, "That's fine. Like it's okay. Like we can kind of see what you want to do and what's the problem, and we'll get you better with or without needles or with or without cups or whatever."
Yeah. There's many a paths to get to the end result.
Correct.
Some are a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Some are a little bit longer, but you don't have as many needles and whatever else
That's
involved.
Right. I mean, other than not looking as good as I used to, there's a good quality about being, older and having experience. Because it's like, man, I've seen this kid a million times. So I know exactly what to do for you. I've seen you a bunch of times, and I've seen this kid a bunch of times. So it's kind of cool. When people come in, you start getting older to the point where when people walk in, like right when they open their mouth, you're like, "I got you. Like, I know, I've seen this before. We got this, Yeah. So it's kind of refreshing in a depressing way, right? It's like, man, it's like I've seen this so many times. Like, how old am I?
I mean, doing it for 17 years,
17
you got to
years,
see a
good
lot of
Lord.
people.
See a lot of people, but it's fun. Like we have a good environment where I think it's more of a family environment. People come, like I said, on Fridays. Good Lord, like a lot of our kids sign up for Friday afternoons because we get people that bring dinner, lunch, they bring cupcakes, they bring snacks, they bring donuts on Friday morning. So we have this ledge in our clinic where it's kind of a divider between the actual clinic itself and the waiting area. And you'll walk in on a Friday and you've got donuts over here, you got homemade pralines over here, you've got king cake over there, you've got canes boxes all on this side. We have one lady, she's so sweet. She's a tennis player, a little older, but I've been seeing her for years, and she's not even a patient currently, but she'll come in, she'll text me, "Hey, by the way, I'm coming with canes." And she'll bring like 12 caniacs and just lay them out, and she'll have jugs of tea and lemonade, and she'll bring sweets from like her favorite sweet, and "Hey, go, thanks," and high five, hug, "I'm doing good," and she'll just leave. Like doesn't stay for treatment, nothing. Just so we get people like that become kind of family, And I think a lot of clinics get that, but we try to make sure we want everybody to feel that way,
Yeah, that family environment, because that's
family environment. That's what it's about.
It gets like terrifying sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, so I did want to ask you about the craze that kind of started. I think at least I first noticed in the Olympics with Michael Phelps. All the little circles around his body, and everybody was like, "What in the world is this?"
The funny
like,
thing
what
is with cupping, there's a lot of things that we do that require, education, certifications. Cupping requires no certification. You can go on Amazon right now and buy a set of cups, right?
Seriously?
Seriously. So I remember.
Is that kind of dangerous?
It can be, but not as serious as a needle, obviously. But
right.
It's funny when that craze kind of happened. I remember what you're talking about. There was a certain shot where Michael Phelps is sitting on the sideline, and he's like getting ready for his like last race. He's got cup marks, and then the announcers are talking about it. It's on the
People
internet.
had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
They're like, "What is happening?" He's
So-
over there. It looks like
like
got
an
attacked
octopus
by
got him.
something. Yeah.
So then, like the next couple of weeks, you get kids for a certain time. I was seeing a lot of Southeastern baseball players, and I never forget. Guys were coming in, and they would take their shirts off, and there's just random purple spots, like no order, no symmetry, nothing. Just like, what happened? He's like, oh yeah, I got my cupping set in the mail. And it's like I had a little pain here, a little pain over there, so I started sticking cups everywhere. So there is kind of a rhyme or a reason. There's different techniques, but and usually I'm kind of a gold standard needling guy. Like needling is the way to go. If you don't want to do needles, that's fine. We use manipulation, we use hands, we use tools, and we use cups. So a lot of times we'll do fascial gliding, right? Where you're kind of like taking, and there's different techniques if you go to like a masseuse, right? Some will use deep tissue, some will do fascial gliding, rolling. There's lots of different ways to treat tissue. With the cups, the best thing about the cups is it's a non-invasive treatment, right? So it's not a needle. What you're trying to do is you're trying to increase microcirculation. So say, for example, you have a tissue that's cystic. I got a big hamstring or glute, right, or quad, and I want to get deep, but I can't get deep with my hands or my tools. You can try to use a cup to do a maximal distraction, like a static cupping, which will make those marks, those deep purple marks. Or you can even do like a superficial treatment where you're maybe prepping the tissue, where you're taking a cup, using some kind of lubricant, and you're doing fascial glides. You're gliding that tissue to kind of prepare the surface for maybe your next treatment. And then a lot of times it's a very comfortable treatment. It's not very aggressive. People like it. It feels good. A lot of massage therapists and physical therapists use that as well, chiros. So it's an enjoyable treatment. But like I said, it's not invasive. So the idea is to increase circulation deep down without causing damage getting into the tissue like a needle would. So if I want to get into a deep hamstring, I might use like a 3 or 4 inch needle, and I'm going all the way down on a big guy, right? That's a lot of tissue. You got to get down in there, right? You want to get all the way to the bone. So you want to get all the way through that to cause trauma to that tissue to cause a faster response. With the cup, I can get deep, maybe deeper than my hands will, but not as deep as maybe a 4-inch needle, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so the cups are great. Increases circulation. Another form of recovery where you're trying to flush toxins, increase oxygenated blood flow, kind of repair that tissue from a non-invasive way.
So, and I've seen there's a few different methods to how cupping works. Like
Yeah,
I've seen
there's the plastic cups, there's the static cups, the rolling cups.
So, but I've also seen some people, they'll get like a flame and kind of heat it up and then put it on top or something.
Remember we talked about my liability insurance, how it's so cheap. So if I want to keep it cheap,
you can't do that.
I can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do that. So you can, some acupuncturists will use that, right?
Okay.
And I think some massage therapists do too. You're trying to just create a vacuum effect, right? So you kind of flame, cup
You
on
heat
top.
all the oxygen out.
Correct.
Okay.
So a little bit more dangerous. Pretty cool, right? It's
It makes for
effect.
it makes for a good TikTok or an IG
Yeah.
reel or some.
We haven't
video.
tried that on our Instagram yet. We haven't tried that, but maybe next quarter we'll see. We'll get with the team. But it's just that we use hand tools. We use hand tools just to create the vacuum effect.
Yeah, it's almost like a vacuum. It just kind of sucks it out.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was the biggest. Whenever that craze happened, all those videos started popping up.
Oh,
they
yeah.
were all doing like the flashiest effect, and then get on the camera and do that.
Yeah.
This is. I don't know, if you're okay with, I guess, living with a bunch of purple circles everywhere, just don't do it during the summertime. Go to the beach and someone looks at you and you're like, what's going on?
It's funny with
that
our new TikTok and I guess Instagram craze. There's so many things that people do now. I've seen people like needle people, then put a cup on top, and then come through and put like needles on the side of the tissue that's being raised. It's almost like everybody's trying to kind of invent the wheel. It's like,
I mean, does that do anything?
just
at
because
that point?
just because you could do it doesn't mean you should do it. Like at some point it's like, come on guys, let's just think about what we're doing right now. And is it beneficial?
So and you're in the opinion that the needles are like the best way to do it.
I'm a big fan of dry needling. Once you kind of get really good, like when people come in, I try to make them understand, like from what I've been doing for a long time, like you get the benefit of me trying lots of different stuff for a very long time and trying to dwindle down what I think works the best for your condition, right? And 9 times out of 10, it's some type of manual therapy, whether it's manipulation and soft tissue work combined with a dry needling, combined with some type of like loading the tissue. So your body will respond well to what I'm going to do to it. Now let's get it back up to par where it's going to handle the loads you're going to put on it. So in a nutshell, we're not that clinic where you come in and we just do exercise. Now some people need that. Some kids will come in and they're just really, really weak. And I'm like, look, like we have a lot, we have a long process ahead of us. Well, some kids are really strong. They work out nonstop. They're going to ground zero. They're going to traction. They're going to Oshner. They're going to all these places to work out. And they come in, they just want to get relief. So that's where it's just soft tissue, just modalities, just needling to kind of calm down what their problem is. And every once in a while, we'll kind of find some little things, anomalies that are, wrong, or look, let's make sure we add this to what you're already doing. But we won't want that kid to exercise for like 45 minutes. That's the kid that we just work on for 45 minutes. That makes sense. Yeah.
You just want everything to kind of calm down rather than
try
to.
Yeah. And that's a good thing about our clinic. We do both, right? So kid comes in ACL, bam, I got you. I can make you better than you were before your ACL tear. Or some kid comes in, hey, I'm really good. I just have this patellar tendonitis. Good. Let me work on that real quick. What are you doing at home? What are you doing at the gym? Okay, take this away, add this. Let me work on you. You're out of here. Because some kids come and they want to spend 3 hours there. They do. They'll get dropped off summertime, right? They get there at 10, they'll leave at 1, right? Kids pack lunches. Like I'm not joking.
They pack lunches?
They'll pack lunches. They'll come in and they hang out, right? We have college kids there. It's a fun environment. Hip hop's going on. So like they'll just stay. I mean, it happens.
I mean, look, parents need some sitters,
No, hold on now. After a 3 hour, if you're there for 3 hours and your kid's still there, there will be a babysitting charge added to your credit card. No, I'm teasing. No babysit charge.
Parents are sitting there like, let's go to Evolve. Let's go to Evolve.
Hey, you want to go to therapy?
Yeah, you want to go to therapy?
9 to 5, Monday through Friday. That's right. What is it, a $20 copay? Done.
Yeah, $20. People bring food. There's movies on. You can get worked out in the morning, worked out at lunch, worked out in the afternoon. Yeah, you're going there. 2 or 3 days a week. Absolutely.
That's right.
Other 3 days you're going to camp.
That's right. That's funny.
So within all that, like the cup and all that, everything, people are starting to make these products for personal use that doctors have typically only used in their clinics and everything.
Sure.
Is there anything within the cupping? I know they got the new little massage guns that people should be aware of when using this that might cause more harm than good?
I would say with the massage guns and like the foam rollers, those are all pretty safe. The intensity of what you use, some of that might be. And when they first came out with those Hypervolts and those other massage guns, it was like a one size fits all. There's like one intensity, for your 12-year-old versus your 30-year-old versus your 80-year-old, right? So then they kind of came out with newer models where you can change the heads depending on what type of tissue and the intensity. So those are better now, but those are pretty safe as long as you have common sense. I think you're okay. The cupping at home, once you kind of understand what you're doing, obviously try to go to a trained professional. But I mean, I've seen lots of college kids come in with cup marks. I'm like, oh, where are you going for treatment? I was like, oh no, I just do it myself. Watch YouTube. You should let someone else do it, but I mean, you're not gonna kill yourself or anything. You're not gonna cause trauma to your liver by putting something on your back.
I mean, like, could you traumatize the muscle to the point beyond repair?
I guess it depends on, like, when it comes to cupping, we'll leave them on for 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? Usually the longer the better in certain situations. Sometimes cupping is that way. However, I've never heard of anybody leaving it on for like too long. Most people put on, once it turns purple or it turns, bright colors, they'll take it off. They get kind of scared. So depending how tight that tissue is and how much oxygen and blood flow, like sometimes 3 minutes, in 3 minutes, that thing looks like you've had it on for 3 hours. So it depends on how tight the person is. But honestly, I've never really seen anybody get hurt from cups. I haven't heard any stories other than looking like a fool with your shirt off. I've never seen anybody have any like adverse effects from using cups or anything like that at home. Never really had any funny stories to tell.
Well, that's comforting. I didn't know you could actually go and buy a cupping kit.
You can go online right now on Amazon and buy cups. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess,
try it out.
No, I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. I don't have any extreme. I don't play a lot of ball. I don't football and pick up basketball and baseball. That's not my forte. I just go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week, and that's about
5 or 6 days a week. Well done.
Yeah, not this week. This week is July 4th.
Most weeks.
Yeah, most weeks.
I got you. Okay.
But I mean, it's true. Sometimes you'll wake up and for just a plain old person who just works out so many days a week, and then you wake up and you have like, your back's hurting or your arm's hurting. And it's like, for me, I'm just going to take a day or two off.
And honestly, most people, I don't usually see those people. Like people that wake up like on Monday morning just from a long weekend, I usually see them on Wednesday because Monday they're like, it'll go away. It'll go away.
Tuesday,
and then they'll go sit in the car for 3-hour drive, cumulatively of the day. Then they'll sit in their chair for 6 hours for work or whatever. Then they'll come home and sit on the lazy boy. And then by Wednesday, it's like a rock. And then I'm like, hey, let me try to get into therapy. I'll get a text. Hey, man, my back went out. Like, when? Last week? Like, okay, come on in. Let's take a look at it. So yeah, that's the kind of back people we get. Those acute injuries like that.
Yeah, those that have been just sitting in the office chair.
Yeah, I don't get it away. Like, hey, I woke up this morning, it's stiff. Can you see me? It's, hey, I woke up last week, and it's getting progressively worse. It's not getting better.
Right. So do you think that's just the mentality? And I've I've got it too.
I'm the same way.
I'm just
I'm just as guilty.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I wake up, it'll just go away. Like, why do we think when we wake up, a pain's just going to magically go away?
Because it has before. You know what I mean? Most of the time. I mean, I can't remember the research. They pounded it in school, but they do this like Oswald, Canada, like low back school, and they come out with all this research. And the horrible thing about why I think back pain is like so prevalent, because a lot of times 85% of it goes away with like Advil and moist heat, right? The acute pain. But the problem is, a lot of times that pain is a signal from, hey, you're doing something wrong. Like you're doing this, this, and this, and it's not working for me. And you're going to keep getting pain, but then, it'll go away in a week or two. And then in a couple of weeks, it'll come right back. Then it goes away, then it comes right back, to the point where sometimes it gets to where, hey, it came back this time, but it's much more severe and it's not going away. I can't sleep. I can't do my job. That's when I usually get the call, hey man, can you see me? My back went out. So the problem is, all right, like what are we doing on a daily basis? What can we change or fix? Obviously the symptoms of pain, right, or symptoms. What is the problem that you have going on that we need to address to make sure this doesn't come back ever, right? Or if, especially if you're diligent, if you do the stuff I tell you, even when you're not hurting, it's preventative, right? You keep it away. Or, hey, let's keep it to a minimal where maybe once every 5 years it flares up, not, once every couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the back injuries, because a lot of people, generally the audience listening to the show are typically business minded. So a lot of them are either sitting in their car on the way to work, or they're sitting at their desk and working. There's some that are working out, I know my buddy Jay, he listens to me on his walks.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Whenever that happens, where it's that lower back pain or something, people are, I got to get my back cracked. And then you see those videos where it's like ASMR of a back cracker. And they get like, how many layers can you go up? I mean, at some point, is there a damaging effect of cracking your back
I've
like
seen
that
some
on
of
your
those
own?
videos, and some of those have scared me. But I get some people that come in, especially our neck clients. Our neck clients are, look, if you don't mind, I'm kind of going through and assessing the way your spinal, columns move. I'm like, look, your lower cervical's not side bending this way, or this one's not flexing this way. If you don't mind, I want to go through, and if you let me do like a couple of segments, I'll try to release it. And some people are like, absolutely not. I've seen this movie one time with Chuck Norris, and he did this move, and that guy died. Or I heard this story one time from a newspaper from a friend, his mother, and I'm like, you realize how many chiropractors are in America and in the world, and they're cracking all day long, 5 days a week. Like people will be dropping like flies if it was really that serious. So the idea of, and there's lots of studies that come out now, but it's not as exciting as, hey, by the way, this guy was going to die on a Tuesday from like, arterial sclerosis, and he was going to die, but he happened to go to a chiro or a PT 3 hours before he was going to die. So that's what did it. The cheeseburgers and all this stuff, the mayonnaise, that didn't do it. It's definitely the PT or chiro right before he died. That's it, right? So sometimes you get stories like that, and that's much more exciting, right, to put in the newspaper than, he's just a fat ass. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm sorry. That wasn't polite. But anyway.
It's true that Chuck Norris movie, it's like very
so
slight
easy,
twist of the head.
So easy. It's
Done.
like, guys, his body's pretty resilient. I'm not going to hurt you. I've been doing this for a long time. Not going to kill you.
So
not going to win.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
Yeah. But at the same time, most research shows that the most effective way to get rid of spinal pain, right? Exercise is effective, but exercise by itself, not as effective as exercise, soft tissue, some kind of spinal manipulation work, whether it's neck, mid-back, lower back, whatever. That's important. So whether you go to a chiro, PT, whatever, you should feel comfortable working with that practitioner saying, look, I know the best way for me to get better is combination of some kind of massage or soft tissue work, some type of corrective exercise, because once I get adjusted or manipulated or whatever word, mobilized you want to say, everybody use different terms. Once I get mobilized, right, and then I do soft tissue work and I get my body back to normal, I have to do some corrective exercise to kind of retrain my body to let it know where it needs to be, right? So that all has to be done every time you go to therapy.
So now what about those newer ones with the little hand pumps for the neck? I've seen people doing
like the traction?
the neck stretching or whatever it is.
Yeah, so those are, depending on what exactly you have, like some people come in with really, really acute herniated disc or bulging disc sometimes, and sometimes that's immediate relief, right? Some of it, you really just have an acute impingement on a nerve root that's kind of in the neck or lower back. The lower back ones are a little more bulky and not as effective, but the ones for the neck are pretty good. A lot of times you'll wake up on a Monday like, oh my God, I can't move and I got pain down my arm, and you'll use these things and you'll get immediate relief, So some are pretty effective, but there's some cheap ones. The ones that's $9.99 on Amazon, I wouldn't get that one. We have a Chattanooga machine that we loan out to our clients that we know really well. And it's like a $500 unit, but we'll loan it out to our clients that I've known for a long time. I trust them. They'll come and say, oh my God, my neck's flared up, and we'll work on them and then give them a home unit to use a couple times a day for like a week or two. And then once it flares down, they bring it back. kind of like they check out a book, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a loaner from the library.
A loaner
the,
from the
the library of
That's right.
Evolve.
Yeah, that's right.
So you said you were at a couple practices before you got into Evolve.
Correct.
What was that like? And then the switch to your own.
Well, I don't think I'd be where I am today without having the experiences I went through. So I worked at a couple clinics, outpatient clinics, did even some acute care when I was younger. But honestly, I felt like I had like a certain way I like to do things. And I was like, man, I really feel like this old model just doesn't work as well as it should, right? And we've had a lot of students come through, and most students like, man, like you do things differently. I'm like, well, this is how I do it. Like, I think this is the most effective way to do things. It's not how you're going to learn it in school. And in school, they're going to teach you 100 things to memorize on if somebody comes in with knee pain. I want to do this test and this test. And they're like, I don't really do that. I'll go through and I do more of a functional screening. I kind of see how people move. And then based off of experience, I'll say, look, this is what I think your problem is. We're going to look proximally to here. We're going to work on the pain here, but I don't see any structural damage here. We're going to work on this, this, and this. So it's a little different than how you were kind of taught in school. It's sad because they charge you so much money in school, and you get out very little. Like, you get out like, hey, look, I got a piece of paper, and I learned all these tests that I memorized. I got these tests memorized in my head, and then when a patient comes in, if they come in with this problem, they're definitely going to act like this. This is definitely what they're going to have symptoms like, and if I do these exercises, they'll definitely get better. And it's like, that's not how people work. Like, it's not like that. I remember getting out of school going, man, I wish they would have focused more on telling me like the variations of people that were going to come in, and, different sizes, different pain tolerances. Some people can, some people can tolerate certain things that you want to do, and some people can't. So what if you can't? What are you going to do? This is what you learned in school, and they don't like it. What are you going to do?
You walk out there with the paper and say, no.
Yeah,
you're
book
supposed to do
the
this.
book says
this is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. It's like the MRI says this. Well, the book tells me if the MRI says this, and it's going to be this. And therapy is such like an art. You know what I mean? Like, you have to really understand people. You have to understand, like, when people come in, I could have 10 people with the same diagnosis, and 5 will respond to this, and 2 will respond to this, and the other won't respond at all. And sometimes that's psychological. Sometimes that's their approach. Sometimes they come in with a negative attitude. Some people come in, they want to get better no matter what I do. Even if I'm going to do a shitty job, they're going to get better because they're a very positive person, and they're going to get better. So there's lots of things that go into that. So you take all that into account, and it's like, man, I wish I would have learned what I'm doing now in school earlier,
Is there a way to adapt that? Kind of have like adaptive learning, or
they do clinicals.
They do the clinicals. Yeah.
And now they force these kids into school for 3 years, and then so they do a lot more clinicals, a lot more research. Education's pretty much the same. They're getting more things. So I probably spent thousands of dollars going to all these courses when I got out of school to learn all these cool things, and a lot of these kids are getting these things in school now. So hats off to them. So they'll come out being a better therapist than I was when I was younger. But the good thing about I'll get kids we get a lot of kids from like FranU because it's in town. We get some kids from LSU. We get some from St. Aug. And these kids will come in and say, look, like, everything you learned at school, keep that, because you're going to be tested on that from the national board when you graduate. But I'm going to kind of show you how I do things in the clinic from a more of experience type way. So that way you have 2 models to look at, and you can use both. If you can like what I do, you can hate it. But I think people really like it. It's very time efficient. And it seems to be working okay. So I don't know. I felt like when I was at the other clinics that I worked at, nothing against them personally. I just felt like, look, I'm just a New Orleans guy. I like to have fun. I want to be really good at what I do, but I want to be laid back doing it. That's just how I am. So I want our clinic atmosphere to be really, really laid back. I want to do really, really good work, and I want to try to be the best at what I do, but in a fun way, if that makes sense. Yeah. So and I think that just goes with my personality. So I think that's why. So when did you know it was the time to step out and do your own? Man, it's funny. It's scary because I want to do it for a long time. And then, of course, as certain business models evolve, no pun intended, as certain business models evolve, like you kind of in your mind, like, hey, I think this is going to work. And then you try something and it doesn't. You're like, okay, I failed at this. I didn't do good at this. Let me try something different. And then your therapy portion is doing well, but like maybe your business model, like I wish when I went to PT school, they had a class on running your own outpatient clinic, or I wish at LSU, I was a science major. I didn't take one business class. I wish I would have took an economics class, a business class, something. So anybody listening in college, no matter what your degree's in, try to take at least a Econ 101 in a business class, introduction to business, something. Because, man, I think that would have helped me a lot along the way, and maybe would have got me doing what I'm doing now a little sooner. But I mean, with all the life experience I have no regrets. Everything I've done up to this point, kind of shaped me into the person I'm in, and I like where I'm at, and I like what I do, and no regrets.
So was it nerve-wracking to step out on your own?
100%. The biggest thing is it's hard in our industry. So there's a lot of smaller clinics in town. I know Moreau's really big. Peak Performance is really big. But there's some other little small mom and pop clinics like myself that are trying to fight. And the sad part is it's hard to fight against like the big groups because there's certain patterns, right? Like I'm from New Orleans. When I got to college, Peak Performance was already around. I didn't know much about therapy clinics in Baton Rouge, but I heard of Peak. You know what I mean? I've heard of certain names. So then people are trying to find their niche in an already developed market. Being from New Orleans, a lot of Baton Rouge people. It was hard to break into the Baton Rouge market. Like, hey, would you go Catholic? No, I went to Brother Martin. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So like, man, I'm like, I didn't realize
school.
I didn't realize I didn't throw that out yet. It took me a while before I threw that out. But I remember for a while thinking like, man, like I'm gonna make sure my kid goes to Catholic. If we're gonna live in Baton Rouge, my kid's got to go to Catholic. But so there's all these other things on the side, politics, things that you don't think about when you open a business. But it's true. You could be a really good therapist, but nobody will send you patients if you don't get your own name out there. If you don't spend the time to market yourself. It's sad, but that's just the truth. Like you got to hustle.
They got to know who you are and who you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so important. But I've seen some small clinics come up and like fail. And I'm like, man, I was a good therapist. Like that guy was pretty good or that girl's pretty good, but they just, I guess, couldn't figure out how to get people to send people to them or, and it takes a while. So I was trying to figure out like, how long should I do this with the help of other people before I try my best to do this on my own, and it's hard. Like you never know when. You just got to take a leap of faith,
And was this like your first ever entrepreneurial endeavor?
Pretty much. I did some partnerships with people in the past, and it worked out pretty good. Still did what I wanted to do, and they were pretty good partners, and everything worked out okay. And then after a while, I just kind of like, you know what? For myself and my family, like I think I need to like take another step,
So what did your family think of taking that step?
Making
that change.
That first year was miserable. My wife was, every day. You sure this is a good idea? You should, because I mean we had to sacrifice for a year. Like that first year, like you're not paying yourself very much. Like all right, I got all this overhead, and I'm really hoping that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z this year, but I don't know, and I'm going to pay myself this because I think I can afford this, even though I can barely afford what I'm, no eating out, this quarter, and we're going to go on a vacation, but we're only going to go one vacation this year, and it's going to be a weekend trip. We're not going to Sandestin. We're going to Biloxi this year. You know what I mean? Like you have to make those decisions, and the sad part is it affects your family. So like if I would have been a younger man and I would have, had the experience and the knowledge and not the family, maybe I would have made the jump a little sooner. Because man, you got to think about your family. You got to think about your wife, making sure she's happy with you, making sure your kids still get to go to private school and your daughter gets to do dance and your son gets to play baseball. Like that controls a lot of your decisions, Well,
and especially going from what was an initially high earning job to now a no earning business.
Correct. Yeah.
That especially if you're breaking into a new market,
that may or may not succeed.
It may or may not succeed, and you may be back at square one trying to redo and remake, relationships and whatnot. So
100%.
You get to that certain level standard of living within your normal career, and then you decide to make this leap of faith and take this change. And if it's not initially wildly successful, which 9 out of 10 businesses are not wildly successful right out the bat, you have this developing time where it's tough.
Oh, so
and you
tough.
got to get yourself out of what was your normal mindset of, oh yeah, we can go to, wherever and have a great dinner and not have to worry about it at the end of the night when we swipe it, to where now it's, all right, so where are we going to grocery for the week? And what meals are we going to have that we can cook in bulk and make sure it
100%.
manages it out? All right, kids, hope you love ham and cheese.
That's right.
Or peanut butter and jelly.
That's right. And don't cry because I already want to cry and you're going to make me cry sooner because.
Right. If you cry, I cry.
That's
We're
right.
both not crying.
That's right. Do not cry. You will like ham and cheese.
That's right. And it's those tough decisions of going from a higher end to then down to nothing, hoping and praying that what you know in your head is going to come to fruition. Because if you start at the bottom and you're always at the bottom and then you're able to make yourself go up, it's great.
Yeah.
But if you have that ebb and flow of working for someone for so long, you've got this amazing career and say, I can do it on my own.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a Rolodex of clients that are immediately coming with you, you've got to build up from nothing.
100%.
And it's not easy.
Tough. It's tough.
So evolve. You alluded to the name a little bit about
Sure.
the evolution. Yeah, I mean
Sure.
that's just a long.
It was
that's
a long word.
URL.
I tried to look at it. I was like, Robbie had an evolution. I'm like, nah, it's just too long. And then I kind of dropped down to evolve, and it fit well. It looked good with our logo. I liked the way it looked, and so we kind of settled on evolve. Yeah.
That's good. The naming can take a while.
Oh yeah, like we threw some other names around too. Honestly, I don't remember the other names we threw around. But I know what I didn't want to do is have Robbie Bolton Physical Therapy. I didn't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that as I look, I'm eventually going to get old, and I won't be able to do this anymore. My hands will be jacked up because I'm working on thousands of people, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I want to have it where I can bring some young therapists in that are aggressive and they really want to be good at what they do. And I remember thinking, like, whatever I do, I want to make sure that the therapy clinic that I have, the people that work with me, are like trying to be the best. We're trying to give the best treatments. And I want them to have their names out in the community too. Like, not just my name, but like, look, I work at Evolve. Like, oh, okay, you're Joe that works at Evolve. Like, I've heard your name. I heard the clinic is one of the better ones in town. Like, if you have these injuries, this is where you go. I kind of wanted to set up that model where, you know, as I get older and I can take a step back and still keep working on the clients that I have now. I mean, you can't see everybody. You know what I mean? So like, I need some young bucks to come in and start trying to do the same thing. And man, they're gonna have it so much better than me because it took me years and years to develop what I have now. Mm-hmm. From a treatment perspective, they're getting that kind of stuff in school now. And then if they don't get in school, like we host courses at our clinic all the time. Like, look, free CEUs here. This is the stuff that I use. This is what works. Here you go. Come this weekend to the course. It's free. Come learn for free. You know what I mean? Like, and this is what we do to our clients. This is what we do for our practice. And this is how you get to be better and just make them better clinicians. And I feel like there's certain people out there that don't just want to go, okay, 9 to 5, or I got a couple more patients and I'm out of here. I think there's some therapists out there that really want to be, you know, difference makers, you know?
Yeah. They want to make not only a name for themselves, but they want to live up to the brand. Absolutely. I mean, you're building a brand at this point.
And then, hey, if they want to say, I want to open my own clinic, good. How about we partner up and we'll do Evolve number 2, and that's your clinic, and you can buy into that clinic. And I remember thinking, like, when I was younger and I was a young therapist, I'm like, well, how come all the therapists like work for one company? And it's not like this therapist is part owner, that therapist is part owner, like doctors groups. Doctors come in, they buy into the practice. Like, therapists don't necessarily do that. You know, it's like therapists come in, it's like, all right, you're the owner and I'm working for you and I'm just 9 to 5 and you're the guy. I'm like, man, if you bust balls, like, come on, let's get in here. Let's have a good time. Let's get better. Let's get smarter. Let's do really good work. You deserve it. Like, I want to keep you. Stay here. You know, like, what do you want to buy in? Great. Let's buy in. I want you to be happy here. I want you to stay here forever.
Yeah.
You know,
wherever you move and you're bought in,
right.
Just open up another Evolve.
That's right. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's work together and let's grow this together to where we're all benefiting.
Well, man, I'm looking forward to seeing that growth and seeing those other people open up some future practices, man.
That would be nice.
So as we kind of get to wind down in the show,
already we just got started.
I know we just got started, and you're already 53 minutes into it, man.
Man, I didn't even finished my water.
Your drink.
Yeah.
So we have a set list of questions we like to ask everybody.
Okay.
What is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Oh, that's easy. My wife just posted a bunch of topless pictures of me on the beach with my kids. I'm like, geez, like, who's that guy? I don't even recognize that guy. I mean, in the summertime, I was lifeguard. I don't think I owned a shirt in the summertime. You know what I mean? I wish I could do that again. Just walk around no shirt because I was comfortable with it. Now I'm like, geez.
I mean, you can.
No, I can't. I cannot. It's okay. I wish I could do that. I wish I could be that kid just walking around, didn't even think about walking outside, driving to the gas station or wherever, just no shirt, no problem.
Yeah, driving to the gas stations, people might look at you kind of funny.
Who cares when you were tan and you had 6-pack? Who cares? You look all you want. I don't care.
I'm saying now they might look at you like,
yeah. That guy's got a weird like sunburn in that spot. He probably didn't see that spot when he applied. Yeah.
That's the good summer times of quick spray fatherhood. Make sure the kids are all lathered up, and then you get like a quick once over.
That's a once over,
and then you have like a checkerboard effect on your stomach.
Oh, there's definitely a checkerboard effect. We just got back from the beach. I'm like, oh my god, how did I not apply right there? Like, seriously, big red spot on my gut.
You just forget about it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I want to forget about it.
So, what are 3 lessons you've learned along the way?
3 lessons along the way. First, best you can, always put God and family first. That's always first and foremost. Try to know your self-worth. A lot of times it's hard, and I don't mean going beyond what you should do and what you shouldn't do when it comes to business, but if you believe you're working hard, like make sure you're getting paid or you're doing what you think you should do business wise based off your, what would be the word, your, not consideration, but I guess your efforts, I guess. Like, I mean, I can't tell you last time I haven't worked a 10, 11-hour day. Like, that's just what I do. Even when I'm on vacation, that's what I do. Like, I wake up early, do your exercises, check the schedule for the day, do your paperwork, let the kids wake up before they go to bed, check the schedule, do paperwork, check on things. Like, if you're busting it like that, like, you deserve to get paid well. You deserve to have your own place. You deserve to take that next step because you'll be successful. I think there's a lot of things that go on behind the scene that most people don't think about, right? So I think my staff understands, like, I'm the first one to get there and the last one to leave, like, all the time. Like, when there's no parking spots in our clinic, they park behind me because they know I'm not leaving before them, So, pay yourself with your worth, God and family first. And, man, third lesson, I don't know. I don't know if I have a third lesson. Those are the two that jump out at me.
Have fun at work.
Have fun at work. I think that is a good lesson. We try to create a good atmosphere, so I think that would be a good life lesson. Have fun at work. Because if you love what you do, like I tell my kids all the time, like I go on vacation so my wife doesn't leave me. You know what I mean? Like I could
keep
work,
her happy.
I could work all the time. Like I love what I do. I go to work. I can be there all day, and I love it. And it's like, oh man, it's Friday already. Great. I got a couple days off. Not really, but and I won't be here treating patients, but yeah, like love what you do. Because then it's not work. It's just all you do is every day. You're like, man, I'm growing something. I'm growing a business. I'm growing something for my family. It's something worthwhile.
Yeah, and you get to see the fruits of the labor
absolutely.
later on in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you were from New Orleans.
Correct.
Went to school in New Orleans.
Correct.
But your practice is here.
Correct.
So I'm not going to ask you what you love about New Orleans. I'm going to ask you
Okay.
what you love about Baton Rouge.
That's a good question. So a lot of my friends, I remember when I was at LSU, a lot of my friends would go home every weekend. Like it's almost like they didn't give Baton Rouge a chance. Like we came to LSU and then weekend would hit and bam, they're in New Orleans. They're going to the same bars we went to in high school, hanging out with the same people.
You mean college, the bars you went to in college?
In college.
In college, after 21.
Oh, no, we would just go hang. You know what? Man, that was good. You got me. That was good. Sorry. That's a New Orleans thing. It just comes, at 15, they just hand them out in New Orleans. You realize that, right?
Can you put your money on the table?
Yeah. You just got to go to the Broadway bars. They just hand them out at the boot. Here it is. Anyway, sorry, I shouldn't have used any specific names.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, that's what I've heard. But I remember just kids going back every weekend, and I was like, man, I don't know anything about Baton Rouge. So I remember I'm a big LSU fan. I like the sports atmosphere. I like my kids my daughter, my son can go to baseball games, football games, gymnastics, softball. There's always stuff to do. It's a big sports town. I like that. But I remember just kind of falling in love with New Orleans because I liked growing up in New Orleans. But as a family guy, like wanting to have a family, kids, I just remember, and this is me personally, nothing against New Orleans, but I just remember saying like, man, there were so many times that I did things that I could have been hurt or, severely injured, or that was a stupid idea. I can't believe I survived that. And I'm like, I don't know if I want my kids to kind of do that. So Baton Rouge was more of a fun town with the sports environment that I felt was a little safer. I don't know what statistics say, but I just felt was a little safer, more family oriented for me personally. So I just thought like, look, I'm gonna stay here, and this is where I want to live. And I love LSU. I love the sports, and I think it's a great place to raise a family.
Hey,
so that's what I'm doing.
I'm doing the same thing, man. Got the roots in, got growing the family.
I like Baton Rouge. I like being
Baton
here.
Rouge.
Yeah, it's home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what can I do to help you?
I'm pretty good at the therapy thing. The hardest part is, as we talked about potential growth and things like that, man, the legal side and the business side, there's always things that I am learning. I feel like every time I talk to you, there's always things that you're educating me on. I'm like, man, how did I not know that? Why didn't I learn that in PT school or in school and business classes I didn't take, right? Like there's all these things that I should know as a business owner, and you help me out with that, and I like that. I appreciate it. So I just need you to keep helping me out with those kind of things.
Well, you know how to get a hold of me.
You're a smart guy. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, man, for coming on the show. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate some little life-saving tricks there. If you buy the kit off Amazon, don't buy the $9.99 kit.
That's right.
Go for $19.99.
That's right.
That's way better.
Yeah, it's a good rule of thumb, right? Don't get the most expensive, not the cheapest.
That's right.
Go middle.
Find a good middle.
Yeah.
Find
get the $35 pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Splurge a little bit.
Yeah,
it's your body. Come on.
And then let's talk about placement first before you start doing it. Yeah, we can have a conversation about that over the phone if we need to.
There you go. Look, because Skype him in or like
That's
FaceTime
right.
in with Robbie, and he'll like, no, a little bit to the left, a little bit.
Right.
He'll look at your back for you when you can't.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much, man, for coming on. I appreciate
absolutely.
it.
This is good, man. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everybody else for watching or listening, whatever platform or method you're consuming us on. I really appreciate it. I know the guests do as well. If you're in the Baton Rouge area, or maybe you're just tired of your physical therapist in New Orleans,
That's right.
come down to Baton Rouge and check out Evolve, check out Robbie and his team over there, and be sure to tell them the Patty G Show sent you, and they're always going to take good care of you no matter who you are and where you're coming from. They're going to treat you like family. And so with that, guys, we are wrapped with the latest episode of the Patty G Show with Evolve Physical Therapy, Robbie Bolton in talking about it. Thank you all so very much, and a wonderful thank you to the lovely sponsors that make this show very possible as we come to you each and every week. Hear a little bit more about them right now. Thank you so very much to Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, the latest Patty G Show sponsor. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers is serving up hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy, crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, fresh coleslaw, and mouth-watering cane sauce. So y'all stop by for meetups and wind-downs, lunch breaks and dinner fixes, pre-games and after-parties, or whenever your chicken finger cravings hit. I know my chicken finger cravings are hitting right now. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love. Thank you all so very much for listening to this episode of the Patty G Show, brought to you by Government Taco. They're located on the corner of Government Street and Jefferson Highway. Jay is always slinging up a new taco of the month, so if you're a frequenter to Government Taco, let us know in the comments what you thought about this month's taco of the month. If you're not a frequenter, maybe trying out this month's taco might just convert you. Big thanks over to them at Government Taco for making the Patty G Show possible. Thank you so very much to our sponsor, Falaya Real Estate. They are the all-in-one real estate platform for you, whether you're buying or selling. They've got options starting out at $399 to sell your home. The average lister saves anywhere from $7,800 on their closing of their home. It's really incredible what they're doing with it. Barrett is amazing at Falaya. Jacob, they're going to help you through the entire process from start to finish and really treat you like family.
At Horizon Financial Group, we enjoy helping others achieve greater confidence, clarity, and direction in their lives. We realize everyone's path to financial success is unique. Sometimes you just need a friendly guide along the way. Whether it's customized financial planning, individual wealth management, or servicing your company's retirement plan, we've got the team with the experience to help you reach your goals. Horizon Financial Group, helping you provide, protect, and prosper for those counting on you. Visit us at horizonfg.com. Cetera Advisors, LLC, member FINRA SIPC. Cetera is a separate entity.
Thank you to Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge for making this show possible. Nick Pentis is a past guest. We love having him on. Listening to him talk about the culture they have over at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge is really an incredible thing to hear. How they treat not only their employees, but every customer that walks through the door. You are more than just a number to them. They're going to give you that white glove concierge service every step of the way. They're going to make you feel like family and take what can be a stressful time in people's life, shopping for a car. They're going to make it so enjoyable and so pleasurable. You're going to want to go back there time and time again for every new vehicle. Thank you so very much for Mercedes-Benz of making this show possible. Thank you so very much to Mallard Bay Outdoors, the Airbnb for the outdoor sportsman. If you're looking to book a hunt or a fishing trip, this is the platform to use. They were a past guest of the Patty G Show. We got to learn all about what they're doing from the ground up. They are really revolutionizing the booking process for hunts and fish all across the country. For your next hunting or fishing experience, or maybe your corporate retreat, you're looking for something to do for your employees, book a hunt or a fishing trip with Mallard Bay Outdoors, and they will take care of you every step of the way, from organizing it with the guides and the captains to making sure you can take care of them at the end of the trip. Mallard Bay Outdoors, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show.